What's up, Timmers here. With the new Alien series coming out this week, Alien Earth, since one of the stars is also Tim the Elephant, who I've always liked Tim the Elephant. Like, he's always really cool in TV, movies, and stuff. So, here is my official top 10 favorite Tim the Elephant movies and TV projects. Because the guy's done, like, from TV to movies and stuff, he's done some really good projects. So, here is my official top 10. Number 10 is Deadwood. Now, there's also the movie Deadwood, which is pretty good, but I'm going with the TV show instead. This is, of course, set in the 1870s, which is a western that follows the lawless town of Deadwood, South Dakota, as miners, outlaws, and entrepreneurs clash. Over the 3 seasons, there was power struggles, alliance, and foe. Olyphant plays Seth Bullock, who's a principal ex-marshal turned hardware store owner. And he does some, really good performances here. Great cast list. You had the likes of Ian McShane, Molly Park, Chucky himself, Brad Dourif, John Hawkes, Powers Booth. The list goes on and on. Some really good performances. I really like this show. Of course, lasted from 2004 to 2006. It is a really intriguing, one of the better Western series in recent years, in the past 2000s, really. It is really well worth watching, guys. Haven't seen it. Alright. Coming in at number 9 is I Am Number 4. This didn't really do too well at the box office, but I really quite enjoyed I Am Number 4. It starred Timothy Olyphant, as, of course, if you guys don't know much about the story, it starred Alex Pettyfer as John Smith, a teen alien from the planet, Lorian, who hides on Earth from enemies hunting his kind here. And of course, you got Olyphant, who plays Henry, who is John's guardian and mentor. I guess you could say he's like the Jor-El of John's Superman, really, if you want to look at it that way. But he is really decent here. He is very gruff, protective demeanor here, and he does such a great job. Of course, or I guess you could say he's more like the Pocket more than the Jor-El, but still, Timothy Olyphant is still really decent in this. I Am Number 4 is very underrated. Got released all the way back in 2011. It didn't really do so well, which is unfortunate, because it was a really decent little sci-fi YA type film that is well worth a watch. Number 8 is The Girl Next Door. Now, this is about a high schooler played by Emil Hirsch, who's forced for his new neighbor Danielle, who's a former adult film star, trying to get to start fresh here. And it's a really decent teen comedy with drama here. Olyphant plays Kelly, who's the ex producer. He's very sleazy, charming here, and predatory. Edge makes Kelly's a compelling antagonist, and he definitely has some really some really fun, charming moments here. Of course, Emil Hirsch, Alicia Cuthbert, both great in this. Girl Next Door is a really decent rom-com, worth giving a go. So, really decent film there. Alright, number 7 is The Mandalorian. Yeah, he was in the Book of Boba Fett. That was terrible. Here, of course, he plays Cobb Vanth, who's the marshal who wears Boba Fett's helmet here. And he actually really shines in Chapter 9, The Marshal, which brings a Western flair. Pretty much like the Deadwood of the Star Wars universe, if you will. And the he is really great in The Mandalorian. His, of course, Season 2 introduces various characters tied to the Star Wars episodic adventure. And, the Cobb Vanth character, whether we actually see him again, who knows. But he does such a great job here. Timothy Olyphant making Star Wars debut, if you will. Really shines a lot here. So, really good performance. Alright. Coming in at number 6 is Doug Liman's Go. It is a fast-paced comedy thriller that follows 3 interconnected stories over the wild Christmas Eve, where a drug dealer gone wrong to the chaotic adventures of Ray's here. Olyphant plays Todd Gaines, who is a drug dealer with a slick extra, and it's like intense, unpredictable performance, steals lots of scenes. You also had like you had Tate Diggs in this, Katie Holmes. Go was a really decent coming of age tale, well worth a watch. Katie Holmes was good in this. Doug Lyman before Bourne kicked in and stuff. He did a good job here. Definitely well worth a watch. All right, coming in at number 5 is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Now he's actually mostly brief in his. He doesn't really have much screen time. He is set to appear in the sequel though, Cliff Booth. So there's that. But here he plays James Stacy, who's a real actor starring in a Western TV show, and his like scenes are pretty cool, say the least. I love Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It was like one of my favorite films of that year. You know, and the cast list, like besides the main ones like Leo DiCaprio, Margot Robbie, Brad Pitt, it does have some other cool additions from like the late Luke Perry, to Bruce Dern and stuff, and of course Timothy Olyphant. You know, pretty much portraying the real life actor James Stacy was really cool. He is very cool, very confident, as some cool to Rick Dawson's world and stuff, and he has a really good charisma throughout. Number 4 is Justified. People probably add this as their number 1 favorite, but I like Justified. I'm just not like the biggest Justified guy, but Justified was a really cool show. Of course, one of like FX's main slash series, where of course like U.S. Marshal Raylan Givens is reassigned to his rural Kentucky hometown, where he enforces the law with a quick draw and sharp wit. And Timothy Olyphant is terrific in this one. Of course, they did revive it a few years ago too, which was okay, but the OG one was far better. Walton Goggins was also in this. Margaret Martindale. I think he actually scored him a couple of award recognitions. He did, he did receive a couple of Emmy nominations for his performance. Well deserved because he does really play the part well. One of his top tier past. If I was to do his like my top 10 favorite performances of his, Justified probably would have been number 1. But my number 1 I actually quite sort of enjoy a little more, but we'll get to that. All right, number 3, the show that should not have been canceled, and I love Netflix. I'm a proud Netflix user, but I'm still so disappointed this thing got canceled. Number 3 is Santa Clarita Diet. If I had to say which show is actually better between Justified and Santa Clarita Diet, sorry to say Santa Clarita Diet is a tad bit better than Justified. But that's just me. Now, this is an interesting dark comedy that stars Drew Barrymore, Timothy Olyphant, a little Scream connection too, by the way, who plays like a suburban couple, Sheila and Joe Hammond, who are realtors whose lives spiral when Sheila becomes a zombie craving human flesh. You also had like Nathan Fillion popping up, Joe McHale. I love the show. It was really cool. Like, love the horror aspect. One of Netflix's most underappreciated shows, in my opinion. It was pretty gory at times, especially for a show like this. The chemistry between the two leads and their daughter are pretty good too. The daughter, by the way, is also on the show Yellow Jackets. They're really good on that too. But Santa Clarita Diet is a really intriguing one. Great performances by Barrymore, by Olyphant. Love the zombie aspects. It's a really intriguing series. Worth giving a go. Number 2, speaking of Scream, by the way, number 2 is of course Scream 2. Billy's mother. I kid you not, one of my favorite on-screen ghost faces. If one of these, I'll probably do my ranking of the ghosts of my favorite ghost face. Maybe when Scream 7 comes out, I might do my ghost face ranking. We'll see. But Scream 2, let me just say, the character of Mickey will definitely be up there. Of course, he is a charming but unhinged film student. And spoiler, he becomes Ghostface, obviously. Obviously, he does pair up with with Billy's mom here, and his motives is pretty interesting. Like he wants to blame the movies, which okay, cool there. Uh, but yeah, I've always quite liked the Mickey character. Like he doesn't really have too much screen time um if you think about it. Like he's mostly in like the films, like the film class. Obviously, he becomes a killer towards the end, but he doesn't really have as much screen time as you expect. But like even Stu had more screen time than Mickey did. But still, he really plays his part very well. I loved his like comedic timing here. Of course, his death scene's pretty cool too. And shame we're not probably going to get Tim Yelfan for the next Scream movie. It would be cool to see him pop up, but who knows? And my favorite Tim the Elephant project is Hitman. So many people did not really like Hitman at all, but I actually quite like that Hitman movie. It is of course based on the very popular video game, where like Agent 47 navigates a dangerous world of contract killing, and Tim the Elephant is very unrecognizable as because you're always recognized out of him with hair. Seeing him as a board character, I always thought was pretty cool. He does play the part very well. The action is great. It is entertaining. I really always had a fun time with this one. It's such a shame it didn't really get the love recognition. Like there are lots of not so good film adaptations of video games. I would admit this is definitely not one of them. This is actually one of the better ones in my opinion, and it's a really good one. Agent 47 is not so bad too, but this one's still really cool. And shame we never really got to see a sequel to this, but it is what it is, I guess. Anyway, that's pretty much it there. Here is my quick rundown. Number 10, Deadwood. 9, I Am Number 4. 8, The Girl Next Door. 7, The Mandalorian. 6, Go. 5, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. 4, Justified. 3, Santa Clarita Diet. 2, Scream 2. And number 1, Hitman. Now, there's lots of other ones I could have added to. TV front, he was on Samantha Who, My Name is Earl, The Office, The League, The Grinder, Fargo he was good on, The Great North he was on, Daisy Jones and the Six, Justified Primeval, Terminator Zero, which I thought was okay, but didn't really love it as most people did. The movie front, Gone in 60 Seconds is a good one. The First Wise Club, which was like his first feature. The Broken Hearts Club, Live Free or Die Hard with Bruce Willis, A Perfect Getaway with Chris Hemsworth. He was just in Havoc. So, of course, definitely not Amsterdam. That was terrible. But let me let you guys. What are some of your favorite Tim the Elephant film or TV projects? Drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for notification. This is Timmy Sire.